Hey guys, glad you stopped by. So today, like I talked about yesterday with the Dorito casserole video, we're going to do pumpkin and chocolate chip whoopie pies. Now, I have never made these whoopie pies before, but I mean, I do have a whoopie pie video. They're chocolate whoopie pies, and those are an amazing, absolutely amazing whoopie pie. I'll leave up in the block in the corner here at the end and down in the description a link to it. That recipe is over 100 years old and was either Chris's grandma's or great grandma's recipe, but it's one of the original whoopie pie recipes ever made. So that's kind of cool. But today we're going to do pumpkin and chocolate chip with a lovely cream cheese filling. Yeah, and with it being fall and pumpkin is kind of the end thing at the moment, like it is every year about this time. And as I was going through my catalog of pumpkin stuff, I realized I didn't have these in it, and why not? It sounds fantastic and amazing. If you are new to my channel, this is your first video, thanks for stopping by. I hope you get something out of this video. Maybe check out some of the other videos, even consider subscribing. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That keeps us out in the algorithm, keeps us relevant as a neighborhood and helps us to grow. Remember, we're trying to get to 5,000 by the end of the year, and I think we can do it. I mean, I know we're near the end of the year, but I still have hope. We've only got about 1,000 more to go, and I think we can do it. We've come a long way in a short time, so there's no reason why we can't, right? We're no quitters. Comments, always welcome. I respond to all of them. If you take the time to comment, I'll take the time to respond, for sure. I'll ask is you be kind. It's okay to disagree, me or anybody else in the comments for that matter. Just think before you type and be kind. So anyhow, I will give you all your measurements in cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, along with milliliters and grams. That way everybody at home can play along. So let's head on down here to the counter and we'll get started on these wonderful pies. Whoopie pies. See you here in a second. Okay, so we are down here at the counter. Things we will need for this recipe. Ooh, that was hard to say. You will definitely need a bowl for your dry goods, a bowl of some sort for your wet ingredients. Now, I'm going to use my stand mixer. You could just easily use a hand mixer. For that matter, you could just use a big spoon, wooden spoon, or a silicone covered spoon, either way, or a rubber spatula for that matter, to make this with. I just would prefer to use my stand mixer today. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to kick our oven on 350 degrees to start with, and we're going to make sure there's nothing in there. So funny story, I was baking something the other day, kicked the oven on, and got done with mixing all the ingredients to realize that I still had the pan from last week's cheesecake video in there, and boy was it hot when I pulled it out. But anyhow, in my bowl, I have 3 cups of flour, 360 grams, and it's just regular old all-purpose flour. To this, we are going to add just a handful of spices, really. We're going to do 1 tablespoon, 6 grams of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon, 3 grams of pumpkin spice, 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking powder. We're just going to go ahead and get all that right into our dry goods. And we're going to give this a mix together, and then we'll just set it aside and we can move on to the wet ingredients. Okay, so we got our dry ingredients sitting over there. So now we can move on to our wet ingredients. In our bowl, first things we want to add to this is going to be 2/3 a cup, 160 milliliters worth of vegetable oil. We're going to get that in there, just like such. And then to that, we are going to add 2 cups of packed light brown sugar. That's 440 grams. I mean, I know that's like normally a 4-cup bowl, but because this brown sugar was packed, actually it's because I weigh it with a scale. I know it's 440 grams, but if we were to pack this down, it would drastically reduce in size. So we're going to take that, our 2 cups of packed light brown sugar, 440 grams, and we're going to put that in there, just like such. Get that little bit there that's stuck to the bottom. There we are. And we're going to go ahead and mix this with the mixer or your spoon or your hand mixer until everything's combined. All right. Our brown sugar is completely coated in vegetable oil, which is what we want. Go ahead and get our sides scraped down just to double check, make sure. Mixers have, even if you're using a hand mixer, because the bowl's round and it doesn't completely conform to your, well, in that case, your beaters. In this case, you know, well, even the beater, it has spots that won't get, and sometimes you can get you know, spots that don't get mixed, you know, which is never good. I know on my KitchenAid in particular, it's right dead in the center. So now we gotta make sure that's all good. The next thing we're gonna add to this is going to be 2 large eggs, 100 grams. Throw those in there. And we're going to add 1 can of pumpkin puree, which is 372 grams. I'll leave it right here just to be sure. I'm pretty sure it's 372 grams of pumpkin puree. Now I'm using canned pumpkin puree. It's just 1 can, and I'm using Libby's. Not that I'm by any means sponsored by them, but I think have the best of the pumpkin puree. Yeah, and you want to make sure you get the puree, not the pumpkin pie mix. I've done that, you know, in a hurry, not paying attention, and I've grabbed the pie mix instead of the puree. Get the pie mix, you're gonna have a really interesting, well, whatever you're making, pumpkin, you know, some pumpkin flavor. So we're gonna get that in there, and then we're gonna beat this with our mixer until it's just combined. Also, we don't want to overwork it with the eggs. All right, so got that combined. Give it a quick scrape down. I'm telling you, that pumpkin gives us such a beautiful color, especially with that brown sugar in there. And the brown sugar will make it, you know, the cookies nice and moist, which is awesome. Because I mean, we're basically just making a really fancy cookie sandwich, you know, with a cream cheese filling instead of just that standard old icing. But that's all right. So next thing we're going to add in is our dry ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to put the whole thing in there like such. And we'll go ahead and get this stirred until it's nice and combined. Start out on low. If not, you're going to have a face full of dry goods and you know, instead of in the pot, they'll be on your face. Okay, I went ahead, got her mixed up, I scraped it down. Figured you guys didn't want to watch me scrape it down again. So the last thing we need to add to this, and there are 2 trains of thought on this. One is with chocolate chips, you fold them in, right? And this is 1 cup, 170 grams of chocolate chips, semi-sweet. You can also use mixed milk chocolate. I'm using a combination of the 2 because I had to use up a couple bags. But I don't fold mine in. I just simply run my mixer on low to get them incorporated. That way, because if you mix it on high, you'll break your chocolate chips up, and then you won't really see any chocolate chips. But mixing it on low, in my opinion, is perfectly acceptable. Okay, so got those mixed in there. We are good and solid. So now I'm going to take the bowl off, get all this cleaned up, and when I come back, we'll go ahead and start putting them on the cookie sheets. All right, so we got everything mixed up. Here's what our batter looks like, right? Nice and orange and pumpkin-y. Oh, can't wait. So you're asking yourself, how the heck are you going to put that on parchment paper? I'm going to use this cookie scoop. Now this is just a standard cookie scoop with a little thingy on it that releases the ice cream, or ice cream scoop, not a cookie scoop. And it's a 1.5 ounce. It's a standard ice cream scoop. And then all we're going to do is just scoop some up, and we're going to put it on our cookie sheet just like such. And I mean, it's not going to completely hold its shape, but it should stay round. And we should get, if we did this right, 24 of these to make a dozen of these cookies. So we're going to stick them about 2 inches apart. I've got 2 sheets here lined with parchment paper, and I'm going to put 12 on each sheet. All right, so there we are at 12 on this sheet. I actually got 10 on the other sheet. Yeah, went a little heavy, I think, on these ones, but let me get these in the oven real quick and we'll talk. Okay, got those in the oven. So how long do we bake these for? Well, we're not going to do both sheets at the same time. We're going to do one sheet at a time. We're going to bake these for 13 to 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and go 15, check them at 13. What are we looking for? We should be able to put a toothpick in the center of them and they should come out clean, just like a cake. They should also spring back if you touch the top on them. Just be careful doing that. I don't want you to burn yourself, but just if you lightly tap the top, it should spring back, and that way we know we're done. Once those are done, I'll put them on a rack. We're going to let them cool for about 5 minutes while sitting on the pan still. After that, I will take them off the pan and put them on the rack, and then we're going to let those cool down to room temperature completely. And then when I come back, we will make the icing that goes in between these. All right, I'll see you here in just 1 second. Okay, guys, so our pumpkin chocolate chip cakes are cooled, right, to the touch. They might still be a little sticky. My best advice, let them cool completely. I mean, completely, even if it's just hours of sitting out. And that'll eliminate some of the stickiness. This is simply the pumpkin in them. That happens from time to time. But, I mean, as you can see, we're not horribly sticky. Now, and these did take longer in the oven than the 13 to 15 minutes in my oven. I let them go for about 17 minutes. Just to make them done all the way. But anyhow, that being said, let's move on to the filling that we're going to put in between these. So the first thing we're going to need for this filling is going to be 1 8-ounce block, 226 grams of full fat cream cheese, and a half a cup, 1 stick, 114 grams of unsalted butter. Now you want these to be softened, which means you should be able to press down on it like that and it'll leave a dent. You don't want it to be so warm that when you smush it, it separates. And same with your cream cheese. What that does is, I mean, all your dairy should be at room temperature for the most part anyhow. Excuse me. Unless you're making whipped topping. But cream cheese it wants to give you that battle all the way around, and by having them warmed, you don't overwork it. You cream it; it creams better. Now, if they're a little colder than maybe it should be, it'll all warm up as you beat them. But anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get these creamed together so that it's all just nice and creamy. Okay, so we gone ahead and got our cream cheese and our butter creamed together. Give our bowl a quick scrape down, get everything back to center. Oh. Now that's stuff you'll never see on a TV channel. Alright, get this scraped down. Make sure we don't have any big lumps or clumps. We are in good shape, no lumps, no bumps, everything's back into the center. So the next thing we're going to add to this, or add 2 more things, and I mean this is really like the easiest cream cheese filling you'll ever see in your life, is we're going to add 1 cup, 120 grams of confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, icing sugar. It depends on where you're at, who you are, depends on what it's called really. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking vanilla, right in there like such. And then we're gonna just go ahead and get this until it's all combined and nice and smooth. Now start it out on low. If you don't, you'll have a face full of powdered sugar. Alright, so we got everything cleaned up. I got our icing put into my piping bag. And this is my big Bertha piping bag. I don't get to use it much anymore, but I used to use it all the time. It used to be the only piping bag I had, but it's huge and it holds so much. And now that I know better, it's actually kind of awkward to use on most things. But for this, it's ideal. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just start with putting 3 dollops in the center of each one. And I've got a total of 22, so I can do 11 bombs, but I'm going to do 9. But for us, just so you don't have to sit here and watch me do all of them, I'm just going to do the first 3. But we'll go ahead and get our 3 dollops on there, just like such. And then once we get our 3 dollops on, we'll go ahead and smooth it out. I'm using an offset spatula. You can just as easily use a butter knife to do this with. That way we can get that nice and smooth. And I probably could get away with doing 4 dollops. Yeah, I guess it would be up to you. I just want to make sure I have enough icing to go around. Yeah, I should, but you just never know. Yeah, as much as I trust most recipes, I don't really always trust most recipes, especially when it comes to icing. It seems like you either have not enough for what you want to do, or you have too much, because remember, you're basing it off of somebody else's experience, so to speak. But I think we're going to be good with these. So then once you get your icing spread out, not all the way to the edge, because what we're going to do next is we're going to take our top, put it on, and we're going to press it down a little bit, that way it holds. And we'll do the same with the other. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and do this with the other remaining 8. One thing you do want to do though before you start icing them is go through and match them up so you have them in similar size. See how that is similar in size, both sides? Because if you don't, you could end up, when you're done, with one that's big and one that's small. And that all comes down to portioning when you're baking them. But I went through and matched them all up, so like these 6 here match these 6 here, and then these 2 and these 2 match each other. That way they look presentable. Doesn't matter, they're going to taste good all the same, I do believe. So let me go ahead and get these finished up. When I come back, we'll take a look at the finished product and try one. Alright, I'll see you here in just a second. Alright guys, got them all done. Got the, put them in the fridge. Like I said, you want to keep these refrigerated until you serve, because of the cream cheese icing. Plus, it'll help with the stickiness on top. Yeah, so that way they're not, sticking. Not that it's going to peel off, I believe, on your fingers, but all the same, you want them to be nice. So now all we have to do is give this bad boy a try, right? So let's go ahead and see how we did. Yeah. That's perfect. Just perfect. I could not. Yeah, these got to go out of the house. I've been labeled as pre-diabetic, which is horrible for a baker, but these could send me over the top. That cake is moist and just, so good. And when you keep them in the fridge, you don't have to worry about the cake part getting hard because there's no butter in it. The oil will allow it to stay moist even in the fridge. That icing, perfect amount. And I had enough left that if you follow this recipe, you can do 4 dollops on it. And it'll depend on the size of your dollops, really, but I was able to do 4 on the rest of them. That, the blend of the brown sugar and the chocolate chips and that cream with the pumpkin spice, it's so well balanced. So well balanced. It's like a little bite of heaven in every bite, I'm here to tell you. Give these a try. I mean, for sure give these a try. Let me know if you do. Leave me a comment down below. Or if there's a excuse me, type of whoopie pie that you make other than chocolate or pumpkin, or if there's one you found that you want to see me try and do, let me know. Leave a comment down below and let me know. That would be awesome. So tomorrow, geez, Pete, it's dessert. Next Wednesday, next Thursday, I have no idea what we're gonna do for dinner or dessert. Although I do have a idea. One of our friends here in the YouTube neighborhood had mentioned doing a sausage roll, and oddly enough, right before they had mentioned it, I had actually seen another YouTuber do them, and I thought, ooh, that sounds really good. And then it was like a sign, because one of you guys had mentioned it, and I thought, oh, that's awesome. So we may try that next Wednesday. I like sausage, I like rolls, I like sausage rolls. Why not? And it didn't seem hard to do either, so it could be a good, easy, quick weeknight meal. And it's very popular over in the UK. And why not travel a little, right? And if you can do it via your kitchen, rock on. Dessert, no clue what we're gonna do next week, but I'm sure it'll be sweet, tender, delicious, and probably not overly healthy for you. And that's okay. Dessert shouldn't always be healthy, right? I mean, fruit is good. I love fruit, but every once in a while, cake, pie, cupcakes, cookies, whoopie pies are just as good. So anyhow, until next week, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's gonna make them smile either way. It's gonna make you smile and feel good on the inside to tell them, maybe even on the outside. And if you make up some of these whoopie pies, yeah, grab a cup of coffee with them. That could lead to endless conversation, and there's enough there you really could give one to the mailman when he stops and drops off the mail, or the guy walking his dog down the street, or the family of 3, you know, and make some new friends, or invite over some old ones. So, till next week for dinner, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.